Well, that is the rods out, and I find myself back in Oxford, back on the Syndicate, and I'm really looking forward to this one, as it's been a good 6 months since I've last been here. Now, to cut a long story short, I finished work yesterday around midday, headed home to get the fan packed, and made my way to get the overnight sailing from Belfast to Birkenhead. And then after what was probably a 3.5 hour drive, I now find myself on Unity. Now, I did speak to a few people who were pulling off, as it turned up, who did tell me that it's been fishing a little bit slow, and it was also very busy at the weekend. So with that in mind, what I decided to do was just clip the leading rod up at 30 wraps, because I know that's within my boundary, and I found an area out there just under 100 yards, and all I'm doing is I'm going to fish 3 solid bags just to try and nick a bite to begin with, and we'll be able to build it from there. Now, I have just made myself my first coffee because I'm absolutely shattered. I got next to no sleep last night on the ferry, and I do need to tidy everything up, but I'm really looking forward to this one, and hopefully we'll be able to put a few fish on the bank. Right, I'm moving already, and I know what you're thinking, you've only just started, but I'm just not feeling it in this swim. Now, I've had another look around all 3 lakes, and I think where I'm going to head to is down on Gunts. I've got a few options down there that I quite like the look of, so I'm just going to get the last of the gear loaded onto the barrow and make my way down there now. Well, good morning. So last night was a little bit of a quiet one. I did hear a couple of fish show out there, and I had a liner, and I was hoping we would have picked something up by now, but it just hasn't happened, and I think we could be in for a bit of a tough one. Now, it was very cold last night, even had a little bit of frost on the mat, but I'm just redoing all 3 rods. So 2 of the rods are going to go straight back out to where I put them out to last night, but one of them I'm going to try a different area of the swim. There's a big snaggy area on the far bank. I'm going to maybe put one over there. I'm certainly going to have a little look anyway. I'll probably come off it a little bit. It is quite shallow when you go really tight, so we'll come off to the marginal shelf somewhere, but I'm going to get this rod out for now. Right, that is the 3rd and last rod out there and fishing. Managed to find a nice area out there, even hit a fish on the way down. So I'm hoping that'll go some point very soon. Now, whenever I was leading about, I even managed to get a little bit of clay back on the lead, which is always a good area to be fishing. And the fact that I hit that fish on the way down gives me a little bit of confidence that there is fish out there. Say last night was very quiet, but the sun is coming out, it's starting to heat up a little bit, which is quite nice. I'm going to stick the kettle on because I'm absolutely busting for a coffee. Well, I've moved again, and this is the 4th move of the session, and bearing in mind I haven't even done 2 nights. I've definitely been doing a lot of looking around. Now, I've ended up back on Unity, and I've just seen a fish show out there, which is the first visible sign that I've seen since I've been here. Now, when I last spoke to you, I was down in the river swim, and I actually moved into another swim on Gunts, which was called Middle Island, and it was dead out there. I got wiped out by swans this morning, got a little bit fed up, so just threw everything on the barrow and headed back to Unity. And since I've seen one out there, I'm definitely feeling a little bit more confident, although I've said that before on this session so far. But what I've done is I've put 3 solid bags out there. Again, just like what I have been doing so far, I'm just fishing for a bite. We've had quite a lot of frosts in the last couple of mornings I've been here, so I think that's the best approach for now. Zigs will probably be another option, but we'll see how things go. I know I said I wasn't going to put any bait out, but I'm going to put about half a dozen out. Not a lot, but it's going to be mostly a lot of crumb, a lot of liquids, just to try and get a lot of smell and attraction in. The next few days is to be a lot warmer, so I'm going to take a chance, stick a bit of bait out, and hopefully we'll be able to pick a few fish off. It's not really going to plan this one, is it? I'm really struggling at the minute. I'm starting to pull my hair out a little bit, but I've just popped round to see my dad because he's just made a move on the Unity where he's found quite a few fish stacked up in this corner just where I am now, and I am trying to poach him up a little bit. I brought a rod with me. I've got a 4-foot sig out there and he's had one already, so he's buzzing to be off the mark. He had a lovely low 20, which you probably would have seen by now, but I think what I'm going to do, probably going to move for the 5th time in this session. Don't think I've really got much of a choice. There's definitely nothing happening out in front of me, so I'll be packing up first thing in the morning. I'll probably have a little look on yeomans. Well, I think it's time for a beer because this is the 5th move of the session, and over the last couple of days I've definitely been pulling my hair out a little bit. It's definitely been a tough one. Now, I couldn't get into the swim until about midday earlier on, but I wasn't really in a rush because I had to nip to the shop to grab a few bits, got myself a shower and whatnot. So I probably only had the rods out half an hour or so, and I have made a little bit of a change. Now, 2 of the rods I'm just sticking to the solid bags at the minute. I'm confident that they will produce a couple of bites. But worm fishing is quite shoddy, particularly in one of the areas, so I've put a little hinge rig out there with a white milky mulk pop-up. I've put a little scattering, a boilie over the top, and say how much mental. It's literally a handful over each rod, just enough for a bite. And I have seen a couple of fish up here, so fingers crossed we'll be able to nick a couple, and tonight will be the night we'll be able to start putting a few fish together. Well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I've finally got off the mark. Oh, I can't tell you how relieved I am to get a fish, and this one's gone 22.3. Now, it came after another move which I'll go through in the morning, but for now I've already got those 2 rods out there. I'm going to get a few photos of this one and get them slipped back. Right, good morning. Last night was definitely a lot better, and I'm just refreshing one of the rods now. Get a fresh solid bag out there, and it was nice to get off the mark with that low 20. It was a nice one too, but just after that this happened. Right, I reckon it's a couple of hours on since I put that low 20 back, and we've had bite number 2. Only a small one, this at 15.4, but I really don't care. Now, I know it was only a mid-double, but it was buzzing all the same. I say it's been a proper tough session, this one. I've moved 6 times, but at least now I've had a couple of fish. Now, both fish came off the same rod, so I'm probably going to double up on that spot today and try and make the most out of that area. One thing I did notice yesterday, or last night, when I had those couple of fish, there were quite a few leeches on them. So it shows that the water temperature is a lot lower than what it should be, and they're maybe not moving as much as you would think they would be for the time of year, but Anyway, I'm going to get this rod out on the spot, get that second rod in the same area and see if we can nick another one or two. Right, so it's just gone 20 to 1 since those last couple of fish last night. Not a lot has happened, although I have seen one just down this margin, which I have lowered a solid bag onto, and I will be keeping that rod there tonight. Now the other two, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing with that one, because that is the area that's produced 2 bites so far. Both bites have came to solid bags over a light scattering a boilie with a throwing stick, so I'm just going to keep that the same for now. Now I will go through the rigs and I will go through the bait a little bit later on, but for now I'm going to sit back, maybe stick the kettle on, have another coffee, and hopefully we'll be able to nick an afternoon bite. Just putting this left hand rod down this margin where I'd seen one this morning. Now I did drop the rod on it for a couple of hours and hunt went, but definitely think it's worth putting one on it tonight. Just need to put the waders on to get past this tree a little bit. It's just going to be an underarm swing. Right, what are the rigs I'm using on this one? So on 2 of the rods I've got solid bags, and inside those solid bags it's just a really simple but effective rig, and I've got one here to show you. Now how I like to tie mine is I like to have them about 5 inches in length, down to a size 4 wide gape hook, a little bit of shrink tube as a kicker, which I also like to fish a liner style, and the hook bit I like to mount on a slip D. Now there's a few things I like to put inside my solid bags, and the first is obviously the crayfish mini mix pellet from DNA. The second is the insect meal. Now the reason I like to add the insect meal in is because I actually use it to cover the hook bait and the hook point, because I hand sharpen my hooks. Just protects that hook point, stops it from getting burnt over when you're compacting those bags down. And lastly is the liquid I like to add to them. I can't put a solid bag out there without adding some form of liquid. I use a lot of liquids in my angling, whether I'm spodding, solid bags, singles, whatever it is, I've always got some form of liquid added there. And in this one I've been using 2. The first is the red shrimp hydro, and the second is the bug hydro spod syrup.
Hi, about that for a carp. 23.9 this one, and we got that afternoon bite. And this one came on the hinge rig, which I don't think I'd mentioned. I was talking about rigs earlier on that white milky milk pop-up. Happy days. Gonna have a look at the other side of this one, because it's just as nice. That's a proper one, that. Well, what a carp that was. Absolutely buzzing with that. Proper lovely scaly one too, and that one came in the middle rod on that milky milk pop-up on the hinge rig. So I've got that straight back out there already. Just need to get a scatter and a boil over the top. Right, I reckon we've got about 45 minutes left of flight, and it's usually around this time of night we'd redo all 3 rods, but I'm just going to leave them as they are. It was only half an hour ago that I last put that fish back, and the other 2 rods were only redone probably an hour before that, because it did nip to the fan to grab a few bits for tonight. Now I've already prepped a few things for later on, because I'm hoping for a repeat the last night, meaning we can get that rod straight back out there when the next fish comes along. But temperature has dropped a little bit, it's starting to get a little bit cold, so I'm going to get myself into bed and get warmed up. Good morning. So last night, well, I should have filmed it when I didn't really. Had a couple of tench, and then we had a little bit of rain. I had a couple of small carp amongst that, but because it was raining, because it was getting done by tench so much, I just unhooked them in the net and slipped them back, which isn't great for a video, I know, but it is what it is. Right, that's the first rod nearly ready to go. Just need to trim this excess PVA off and we'll get this one straight out there. Now, the rod I'm fishing on a hinge rig, I might actually cast it about today, because last night just before dark I noticed a few showing out towards the island. So if I see any anyway, I'll definitely be dropping a rod on that. It's got to be worth a go. So at this point I've nothing really to lose. It's been a tough session, this one. Haven't had anything big either. But I suppose that's just how fishing is, isn't it? It's just how it goes sometimes. You can't always just turn up and have it off. But anyway, I'm going to finish getting this bag sorted, get it straight out on the spot, get the other 2 freshened up, and hopefully we'll be able to nick one more before we go. Right, let's get this braid soaked, and hopefully this one will go out first time, because I've no spare solid bags ready to go after this one. So if we do get anything, we'll probably just have to do the bags up as and when we need them. Right, where's my mark? There. Happy days. I've had my coffee, rods are out and redone, and I've made a little bit of a change. So that left hand rod, which was tucked down this margin, I've pulled that out of there because it hasn't produced anything, which I'm a little bit surprised about, to be honest, because there's a really good fish that showed in there yesterday. Now what I've done with it is I've moved it to an area straight in front of me where I noted a few move last night, so it's got to be worth a go. I've nothing to lose at the end of the day. Well, I was hoping for one last bite, as it would have been a nice way to end the video, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. Now, I have got most of my kit packed down on the barrow ready to go, and I am going to give it another 30 minutes before I have to call it a day. Now, I know this probably wasn't the best video that I've ever done. I've had 5 fish all together. 2 of them I never even got on camera, which is a little bit stupid, I know, but it is what it is. Anyway, I just want to say a massive thank you for watching it. If you have watched it, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.